Hey, worship leader, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 7 Pod Go hacks. That's right, 7 hacks that you can use to get the most out of this Pod Go. But first, I want to tell you about something very special. I just released my Pod Go for Worship course. That's right, my first course ever. I just released it, and we are actually right now, depending on when you're watching this, we are in the launch week, and so there's a special deal right now. So if you're watching this like today or tomorrow in the next few days, click the link down below, go see what the deal is. I don't want to say it on here because, you know, this video, people might be watching it in the future. Hey, and there might be a deal in the future too, but right now there's a special deal, so go check it out. Before we dive into the 7 hacks, let me show you real quick what the course looks like. All right, so real quick, here is inside the course. This is what you get. There are 5 main modules. Now this module 1, we go over all the hardware, how to use the buttons and the knobs, all the ins and outs and the settings for different types of rigs, whether you're trying to use the 4 cable method or use it just straight into an amp or use the effects loop with other pedals. We cover all that stuff. Module 2 is all the global settings. I mean, who likes to go through menus and do all that stuff? I know I don't, but you gotta know how to do it to get the best tone possible, and there's a lot of great things in there, and so we cover everything you need to know in Module 2. Module 3 is the Pod Go Edit software. Yes, software. Sometimes we just want to play guitar, but you got to know how to use the software to really help you. You can be more efficient at creating better tones faster. So I teach you how to master the Pod Go Edit software. And then in Module 4, we cover tone foundations. Now this is the largest module. I spend the most time just digging through each effect and showing you exactly how to get the best tone possible. And then in Module 5, it's all the bonus videos, and I show you how to use this for live use, like how to dial in presets in your room, maybe with headphones, and get it ready for when you want to play out live. Like I said, click the link below, see what deals are going on right now. You don't want to miss it. All right, let's get into our 7 hacks. Number 1, use EQ for either a mock overdrive or to switch between single coils and humbuckers. Now, if you're new to the Pod Go, you may not realize that you're actually stuck with an EQ block in the signal chain. There's a few things you can get rid of. You have a wah pedal, volume, amp cab, and an EQ block. Unless you're using my jailbreak preset, which is in my expanse pack. If you want to know more about that, click down below. I'm actually using my jailbreak preset today, so I got rid of some of the things, so it may not be exactly, if you're following along, it may not look exactly the same, but I did include 2 examples of how I would use EQ because we're stuck with it anyways. So like I said, this first one, you can copy down the settings if you want to. I use this before the amp, and I have settings kind of like this where I boost the mids and I bring up the level a bit so it slams the front end of the amp and it acts like an overdrive. It pushes those tubes and it sounds like this. So since we're stuck with EQ, getting another gain stage out of it is usually my favorite thing to do. Or like I said, you can also use it to like brighten or warmen up your tone based on what pickups you're using. So right now I have my Telly, which has single coil pickups. And so I've dialed in this preset with this guitar. But if I switch to my humbucker guitar, I could use an EQ block to brighten things up because those pickups are more dark. Right here, I've used the tilt EQ to brighten up at this frequency right here. And let's hear what it sounds like. This is the Telly. Grab my guitar with my warmer humbucker pickup, sounds like this. It's just enough to give it some more clarity. And what I would do is what I've done here is I would set that block to a foot switch and name it, which is my tip number 2. You can name it and change the color. I've had people ask me, so this is tip number 2. You can name a foot switch and change the color to whatever you want. And I would set this to single coil off and humbucker on. So let me show you on HX Edit how I did that. Excuse me, Pod Go Edit. Let me just go up here and redo it. I'm gonna click bypass, and I'm gonna click none. So I'm gonna set this to foot switch 3, and basically all you have to do, if you are on the effect, go down here and hit foot switch 3. Now this is the tilt EQ, but we don't want it to say tilt, and we don't want it to be yellow. So let's change some things. If you hit these little 3 dots right here, you have some options. We can rename it, single coil, off, humbucker, on, boom. Then hit the circle with the 3 dots again, and you can change the color to any of these. Let's just make it pink again, and there we go. Tip number 1, EQ. Tip number 2, change the color and rename foot switches. All right, tip number 3, use the mic distance parameter to add or remove bass from your tone. Now we're lucky because we have all these different mics that have different EQ curves, but some of them may sound really good, but it might be too thin or too bassy. For example, the most bass heavy microphone in the Pod Go is the 4038 Ribbon. Listen to how much bass is added when I switch to it. If you want to add bass, you want to move this as close to the cab as possible. And if you want to remove bass, you want to just start backing it away. And that way it keeps the tone of that microphone, but you have some bass control. So let me just put it really close. That'll be as much bass as possible. If you're not wearing headphones, I would wear headphones. This effect right here will not translate on a phone, I guarantee it. So say you like that, but we just don't want that much bass. We can begin to back this away. Get too far away and it begins to lose some life, that's for sure, but you can dial it into taste. The same is true on mics that are brighter. So the 7 dynamic is one that's a little brighter. If you need more bass, just make sure that the distance is as close as it can be. All right, number 4, we're going to change the BPM to Snapshot because we want spillover between our songs. We're going to use a song per snapshot rather than a preset per snapshot. This is something I started doing a while ago and I really love it. Rather than switching from preset to preset, I like to think of my Pod Go as just an all-in-one pedal board. I like to be in stomp mode like I am here, but I do want to change snapshots. So the first thing we need to do is go to the hamburger menu here, go to global settings, go all the way over to the MIDI tempo and make sure that tempo select is not global or preset, but it's snapshot. That way when we change snapshots, our BPM can be customized. And like we have 4 different snapshots, so we can have 4 different songs, 4 different BPMs. Then when you want to change snapshots, you hit the mode button and you can scroll through your snapshots right here. If this doesn't say snapshot, just hold these 2 down until it changes. It may say bank, it may say preset. We want this to be on snapshot so I can quickly hit mode, scroll through my snapshots, and exit. If you want to see the name of your snapshots, which this is another part of the tip, you can name your snapshots like the names of your songs. You can hold both down and you can see your different snapshots. Now, these just say snapshot 1, 2, 3, 4 because I haven't named it, but let me show you how to name a snapshot. You go up to your snapshots right here, hit this little down menu, and just click right here. You can say song 1, song 2, blur. Now I can see my different songs and I can go to it just like that, or I can scroll through my snapshots like this, hit mode, and then you're ready to go. Then what I like to do, and this is still part of hack number 4, is set some parameters on my delay effect to match each song. So I'll show you how to do that. Go over here to your delay. I just picked the simple delay. You can click, I like to click note sync and set it to snapshots, feedback to snapshots, my mix to snapshots. This is a simple delay, so it may just go ahead and do all of them. The level I don't need, and scale to snapshots. That way when I go from song to song, I may not want the delay settings to be the same. So song 1, or let's go to song 1 here. I may want the note sync to be a quarter. I want the feedback to be really long, but I want the mix not to be so long. And the scale I want at 75%, which gives me my dotted eighth. I'll hit save. Then I'll go to snapshot 2. And this one, I want this to be a dotted eighth. And I want my scale all the way up. And I want my feedback to be a little longer. And I want my mix here. Boom, I'll save that. Now when I go from snapshot 1 to snapshot 2, you can see my BPMs up here in the corner changed. And so did all those parameters. So you can go through your 4 different songs and set it just like you want it, customize it per song, and then you're good to go. All right, number 5 is set mix and decay to expression rather than turning a reverb on and off. If you guys know me, I usually like turning a reverb on and off. I usually like to have 2 reverbs, one that's always on, and then a big ambient reverb that I can just click off. That way I have trails going. But if you don't have the room, you can be very creative with your expression pedal right here and use it to get as wet as you want. Let me show you how to do this. Now, for those of you not using a jailbreak preset, you will have a wah pedal and a volume pedal already assigned to your expression. You can actually see on the unit it says expression 1 is wah, expression 2 is volume. So make sure that you unassign your wah. I'll show you how to do that by unassigning my volume. You go to volume, you click this, and you just push none. Now nothing is assigned to volume right now. Now I want to put that back. Let's make that expression 1 because on expression 2 I want my reverb stuff. So I have expression 2 right here adjusting my decay and my mix. So all the way back, it's very subtle. You can hardly tell it's there. And then all the way forward, it's super wet and ambient. And what's cool about having it on the expression pedal is you can dial it into taste live while you're playing. Number 6 is to set up a foot switch to toggle up and down amp gain to get another bonus overdrive or gain stage. We have this Kali graphic EQ giving us a little bit of low end, a little bit of gain, but right here on the amp, I have this foot switch toggling up and down the channel drive. Now, one thing you might notice is that there was a good amount of volume added. So what we also might want to do is bring down, let's go to channel volume, set this to foot switch 5, and we can also bring down the channel volume a good bit. Just make sure that the min and max is inverted. So when we want our gain higher, that's the max. We also want the max of the channel volume to be a little lower. So I'm gonna bring my channel volume from here, I'm gonna bring my max down a little bit, and then we'll just try that. That way you can see when my gain goes up, my channel volume comes down. Now I just guessed, let's just see how that sounds. It's still a little louder. I can bring that down a little bit. That's a little closer, so we added gain but not a lot of volume. If you want that volume, then make this not toggle so much, or maybe you don't need to toggle it at all. The second part of this tip, or the third part, is that you also might want to do the same thing with bass, because when you add gain to an amp, there can be a lot of bass buildup. And so I want to click here and do the same thing. Let's bring, where are we at? 6.9 on my minimum. And my maximum, I might want to bring the bass down a bit. Yeah, that reverb trick is really cool. But you can hear the difference in the amp, and obviously you can dial it into taste, especially with your own pickups. Now I did add an overdrive in here. It's a Timmy, and we can just turn it. We have all these different gain stage options. Let's hear what they are again. And then let me turn on the Timmy. Now there's a little bit of noise. I have all this gain. So tip number 7 is don't forget about the input gate. I'm gonna turn the input gate off and let's see how noisy it gets. Turn the input gate on and it pretty much works. That was with my fingers off the strings. Now this telly is a little more noisy anyways, especially with all this metal around, but most of the time the factory setting on this input gate works pretty well. Like that's pretty quiet. But if you have a lot more gain or you need a different setting, let me show you how to dial this in. You want to turn it on, bring this all the way down, and then just bring it up till that noise starts going away. and you can get really quiet by bringing it up even further. It's just you might run into your tone being sucked out. So let me just bring it up really high and you can see what happens. I mean, that still sounds pretty good because we have such a strong signal. But if you bring it all the way up, I mean, that's... You can hear your decay will go away pretty quick, and it can just be too strong. So somewhere in here sounds good. So now you can have everything going. All right, there you go. I hope that was helpful. If it was, let me know down in the comments. Let me do a quick recap. Hey, don't forget about the PodGo course and the special deal that's going on right now. Number 1 was use your EQ block for either a boost or just to change the way your pickups sound on different guitars. Number 2, change the foot switch colors and the name. You can definitely do that. Number 3, use mic distance in and out. Closer to the cab is going to give you more bass response. Further away is going to thin that out a little bit. Number 4, change the BPM per snapshot if you want spillover between songs, and then you can adjust your delays to match those BPMs and just all those parameters. Number 5, set the mix and decay to one of your expression pedals. Just remember to unassign either the wah or the volume, whichever one you're not using. Number 6, assign a foot switch to up and down the gain on your amp. Just remember, don't allow too much bass to build up, and you may have to bring down the channel volume. And then number 7, don't forget about the input gate, because that can really help your signal from being too noisy. Yeah, that's it. Hope you guys liked it. See you in the next video. Bye.